across the river. That night,
Donna Piaggi.
yeah, that night we stayed alongside the road, just used to sleep in our trucks, you see. Now, alongside the edge of the road was about 20 British trucks, then there was 30 of our trucks, and then on the inside of that again was about 20 Polish trucks. So what does Jerry do? His last effort in the war in Italy, and did he go to market? Did he ever? Oh man. He came down the road with a horse and cart and an Orlican gun on it and talked to us. Bloody bullets and bloody stuff flying every bloody where, and I said to Porter, I says, what the bloody hell's going on? Because we were in bed asleep, you see. I said, what the bloody hell's going on? I said, those bloody engineers, the bastards, they're on the piss again. And we had a look and there was a fire. Oh shit. And the fire was the YMCA truck plus one of the trucks of the engineers, New Zealand engineers.
Yeah.
And Jerry had gone in, Barry, and poured petrol all around the truck, both trucks, and threw a match in. And anybody that raised their bloody head, boom, killed them. I tell you. So Porter came to me and he says, I'm going to find out what the hell's going on. He says, where's that Tommy gun? I was in the cab of the truck, right? He goes over and he come back and he says, hey Tommy, I got one of the bastards. I said, what do you mean you got one? He says, I got a bloody German. He says, he was hanging out of a bloody window. He says, so I shot the bastard. He says, he's on the ground round there. Got that bastard. You should have seen it the next morning. There were bodies everywhere. They'd come in here and they'd strafe bullets. The poor old cook was asleep on the ground. They put bullets all through. Oh, Jesus Christ. That afternoon, we got the job rounding up these prisoners, these Germans.
Oi! Shh!
Oh, where's that bloody girl gone now?
Yeah, what happened?
We rounded all these bloody prisoners up and they were the most arrogant bastards you've ever set eyes on. But they ran into a couple of Kiwis, didn't they? A fellow by the name of George Marshall from Auckland. He lined them all up, made them all stand in bloody line in fours, and he went through, officers and all, took all their bloody revolvers out, threw them all onto a bloody pile. He made them stack all their what's the name? He says, first time I've given any bastard orders in my life. And here were these bloody pricks. And they let them march past us. And these bastards were looking at us as if we were bits of shit. Christ, we were mad. We were really mad. And as Bill Porter, I had all the time in it. He says, where's that Tommy gun of ours, Tommy? I says, no, you can't have it, Charlie. I says, you're not going to go to prison for those bastards. So I hid it. Wouldn't let him have it. And he says, okay mate, okay, it's over, it's finished. He says, I finished up with 2 rings. I says, how'd you get those? He says, one of those bastards was lined up. He says, he was flashing his bloody rings at me. So he says, I took the bastards off. He says, if you don't let me take them, he says, I'll cut the bastards off. He says, I got my rings. To my knowledge, he's still got them today somewhere. Mind you, he's a big fella, Charlie Porter, big man. Well, that finished the actual war in Italy, or so we thought, until from that Donna Piaggi we went on up to Trieste. Now you've heard of Trieste?
Yep.
We must have been up there for about 6 months. And Tito, he wanted it. So he sent his bloody troops down into Trieste. And Tiny Freiberg says, I'll get them out of Trieste. Bring my tank in. Tiny Freiberg brought his tank in. And these cheeky Tito bastards, they even lined up an anti-tank gun on Tiny Freiberg. So he says, one tickle boys, he says, and wiped them. They backed off bloody quick. They got out of it, got out of Trieste. But they still left troops dotted all round. So Freiberg called in the Gurkhas.
Yeah. Oi. Shh. Snoring.
Yeah.
Pick that up.
He always snores.
His tongue hanging out. Yep. Yep.
How he, the Gurkhas finished Tito's mob. They couldn't get out of it quick enough. Because all the Gurkhas did was pull out their kriss and run their finger over it and grin. And old Tito's boys couldn't take that. We used to go past these little guys, only little wee fellas. We used to go past and say, hey! Yeah, you're too right. Big smile and grins all over their bloody face. They were great little fellas. I'll tell you a little incident in a minute.
Turkish.
Eh?
Turkish, aren't they?
Gurkhas.
Gurkhas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From up in, you know where Hillary went to climb bloody Mount Everest?
Himalayas around there.
Himalayas, yeah. They come from up there.
Alright. Hey, stop that snoring.
Maddie. Sorry.
Tell us the woman who, the Italian woman you remember.
Oh my God. Oh Jesus.
Did you didn't
Yeah,
ever
quite
bloody, you
honest,
didn't
yeah.
ever sort of force them. They were always willing.
You didn't have to.
Why? How did it work? They always like you because you're a good looker, eh?
Well, even though I was home as hells in those young days, I wasn't bad looking. But they used to call me Safeguard Thomas. I never ever had clap or anything like that. But what I used to do was, you wanted any washing done, have a bar of soap and a tin of bacon. Little wee tins of bacon. Take your washing along. Find the nicest looking bloody girl you could set eyes on. And you'd say, Voi lavorare? That means, do you wash? Do washing. Si, no, si. Right. So you give them the keg of soap, because they never had soap. And you gave them the bacon. They never had fat. So I used to get to know Mama and Daddy. Daddy's didn't trust me. Just to give me a wine and show me the door. Anyway.
Bloody animal. Fucking hell.
Well,
Lovely Italian women.
one of the first ones was the guy in the truck next to me. Brought this dish along. This girl. Oh, boy. Well, she's something. Oh, you know. So anyway, he said to me, he's on Noel, because he used to take officers out, driving them to different places. He'd say, would you keep an eye on her? I says, Christ, I'll keep more than a bloody eye on her. He says, keep an eye on her. And he was a bit of a fancy Dan, you know, always perfumed himself and all this sort of business. Anyway, I'm sitting there this particular day. I used to always shave with a cutthroat razor, and I'm shaving away, and this intrigued this girl. So she kept around and she sat there looking at me. Voi lavorare? I said, yeah, when I finished my shave. See. She made motions as if I didn't cut myself. I said, no. You man. Him girl. This is the guy who had brought it down. I said, oh. Anyway, that's all right. She actually came from Trieste. And I looked at her and thought, oh my God, I wouldn't mind Buddy doing you over. Kiwi. They used to laugh at my name, Tommaso. I think Tommaso is the same as tomato, you see. But they used to call me Tommaso. Tommaso. Grandamure. Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, poor old Noel had Grandamure for about a week. And old Noel was absolutely stuffed. But at the same time, which made things very, very difficult, at the same time, the little girl that I'd taken my washing to, she shows up on the doorstep, and I thought, oh, good Christ almighty, now what am I going to do? And she comes round. Tommaso, I said, yeah, what do you want? Grandamure. I said, oh Christ, another one. I said, oh, this was too bloody tough. I used to go for a swim to be on my bloody own. I'm out in a corn patch, changing my clothes, you know, after a swim. And this first one wants me to do her over again. Oh my God. But I had to get on the bottom, and all the bloody rocks and stuff on the ground. I said, no bloody way, I said, stick it up your ass. I wasn't going to rip the skin off my back for no Sheila. Not on your life. But then, oh, Jesus, she got bloody jealous. She accused me of having another woman. She wasn't far wrong. But
Did you worry about them getting...
well, I think the family way.
Yeah.
No. But funny enough, there's a fella in Levin, and he married one of these girls. And he said, down in Toronto, just before he left to come home, he says, Tommy, I said, yeah. He said, Assunta. I says, oh yeah, Assunta. Assunta's looking for you. I said, oh my Christ. I said, you're joking. No, 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 no. He said, you better see her. Not me. Well, I ran into him in Levin one day. He says, you know, you dirty bastard. He says, I think you left some dregs in Italy. I said, oh Christ. I said, who? Assunta? He said, who else? I says, I wouldn't have a clue. How would I know? Oh. When you talk about women. In Rome, you know what you did in Rome? They had no money. We used to walk into the flashest of shops where these lovely girls are serving behind the counters. Hey! Grade de Bourret? See? Quantalera? Oh! So-so, so-so. Whatever you wanted to give them. So you used to turn around and take your pick. You go along and say, and I knocked it on the head. I wouldn't touch them. Because I said, if they're that easy with us, they're easy with every other bastard. I said, I've never had clap, and I said, I'm not going to bloody well ever get it either. No way.
Yeah, right.
Just before the war finished, I used to have to deliver bread to the Clap Hospital up in Trieste. There was a captain there, a doctor, and he says, what are you looking at, Kiwi? I said, oh, I'm just wondering, you know, who all the fellas are. He says, they're just like you as anybody else, he says, but the silly buggers don't know when not to dip their wick. I said, oh my God. He says, come and have a look. Oh, Barry, you should have said, oh Christ. Bloody guys with bloody crap oozing out of their cocks. Oh, sores all over their face. Yuck. I said, thank Christ I abstained. Yeah. I went along twice, the RAP, want a blood test. We're not worried about you, Noel. I says, I still want a blood test. I must have had 2 or 3 before I left Italy to come home. Clean as a whistle. Thank Christ for that. Touch wood. And I've been clean all my life, and no way would I pried it too much to put it somewhere where it's not wanted. But
You told us that story when you were showing us the photos about, was it Needle's brother who died? He played the piano. Somebody's brother who died, and he went and played the piano all night. Yeah.
oh, Nobby String.
Nobby Strang. Who now? This is your sort of gang from way back and mates from way back.
In our territorial days.
Yeah. Now, how does that all work?
How do you mean? How does it all?
Who were they and how does
That was the second.
Nobby was a
the second RMT. We were called Chocolate Soldiers before we went away overseas. This was the first 2 years of my army life. I was in the army for 5 years. This was in the first 2 years of my army life. We were stationed for a start off in Wairau, then down to Danneberg, then down to... Oh, that's bloody Nobby. Nobby String. This is where I met Caldwell. You know, in Palmerston North now. Kev Caldwell. That's where I first met Kev. But Kev never came over to Italy until I was coming home. Anyway, that's beside the point. with Nobby, piano player, we found we had a piano player, a fella played the accordion, another fella played the sax, and Noel could sing. So I formed a band. We used to play at concerts all around Palmerston North, A&A dance hall and all the rest of it. And I used to take over the bloody microphone until one day we were invited to put on a free show at the Palmerston North Town Hall. And what happens? I had one of the top pianists in Palmerston North playing the music. And I forgot my bloody words, didn't I? So I looked round and I leaned over the top of him and I says, "You made the ball up, didn't you?" He says, yes, Noel, it was my fault." So he started again. He says, "Can you pick it up?" I says, "Jesus, no." I says, "I've lost it." He says, "All right, okay." So he turned around and gave me a big clap like this, and then he carried on playing piano, and I got out there bloody quick. I felt about that big. The crowd knew. They knew I'd burn it. But we had a lot of fun, and
Did you stay together when you were overseas?
I ran into him. Well, I used to go looking for these guys, and there was a little fellow, Sonny Maru, who now lives in Upper Hutt, Nobby Strang. Paul, I went and looked for him later on, a lot later, but I found Nobby, and he was that scared, the poor bugger. He had become a batman to a padre in the army.
Batman. What's that?
He used to look after his clothes and drive his wagon.
Scared.
Because the padre was always up the front line. Nobby came to me and he says, "Tommy, I lost my brother." I says, "Where the bloody hell?" He says, "Well," he says, "they've just caught up with me." He said, "He got killed at a casino." I said, "Oh my God." I says, "You're joking." He says, "No." He got killed at a casino. I said, "Oh shit." He says, and what do I do? He says, "I finish up driving a bloody padre." He says, "The bastards want to kill me now." I said, "Well, if you stay there, Nobby." So he said, "You know where a piano is?" I said, "Now, how do you know that?" He says, "Because," he says, "you could always find somebody playing a piano." He says, "and somewhere where you get along and sing with them." I says, "Yeah, you're not far wrong, Nobby." He says, "So," he says, "if anybody knows where a bloody piano is, it'll be Thomas. He travelled 15 bloody miles to find me." I said, How did you find me?" He says, "I asked where the bloody Div Ammunition Company was." He said, "I never find that." I said, "I'll find you." He said, "Here we are. Where's this bloody piano?" I said, "Oh, Nobby, shit." I says, "There's only one that I know of." I says, "I'll tell you, I only heard it through a window that led out onto a street. Just a little low window, just a little fraction above the footpath. Let's have a look." This is about 10 or 12 o'clock at bloody night. So away we go. And I found the place. He said, "How do we get in here?" I says, "Well, we are the conquering troops." I says, "We knocked the bloody door down, don't we?" So we knocked the door down, went in, and he says, "Look at this." He says, "This would be one of the most magnificent," it was a Steinway bloody piano. He says, "This would be one of the most magnificent pianos you've ever set eyes on." He used to play operatic stuff and all, old Nobby. He was a classy pianist. And that little bugger, he must have played that piano for a good couple of hours that night. He said, come on Tommy, sing to me, sing to me. And I'm singing me bloody head off and he's playing the piano. He said, hey, you got any piss? I said, yep. Hang on, I'll be back. Shot away to my truck. So him and I had a binge up. And he says, thanks Tommy. He said, I'm going home. I said, all right. He says, I had to get that out of my hair. I said, that's all right, mate. As I understand. He says, he's still dead though. I says, and you're not going to bring him back, Nobby. I said, you can't bring him back. Jack Strang was his name. Come from Waipawa down here. You go down there and ask any of the old timers, they'll all know Nobby Strang. He came back from overseas and started up a band in Wellington, out in High Tie-Dye. You know the old Realm?
Yeah. Oh.
And he used to play the saxophone and all. Oh shit, he was quite clever bugger.
You seen him? Have you seen him? Is he still alive?
No, he died. Nobby died about 5 years ago. I picked up the paper one day and here was this bloody William T. Strang. I said, oh my Christ, old Nobby. I called down there once or twice and saw him. He owned a newspaper, the Waipawa newspaper. He inherited off his father. Yeah. And funny thing, just last week I pick up the paper and here's this woman has just died. Strang. Audrey Strang. It was Nobby's wife. I didn't know she was still alive. She was a lovely girl, real soft cake.
So what are the war? What are you left with when you think about the war? You know, now you think
Now,
but it must be a big time of your life. But
oh Barry, the whole thing
death
is
and murder and killing and
just an experience, part of your life that you've lived through, you've experienced. What I feel about war, the biggest waste of bloody time and manpower you ever set eyes on. It doesn't accomplish anything. Because as long as I think I'm bigger and better than you, I'm going to bloody well trig right on top of you. That's what I think about bloody war. I never regretted that I went because I had some of the happiest time of my life there. 5 solid years and I enjoyed every moment of it. As a matter of fact, I was quite sad when it all finished. If somebody wants to start up an army of old-timers tomorrow, I'll join them. Just for the comradeship that you get out of it. Ah, you do anything for your mates. Anything. Never, what I found out about human life, you were never in the cart as long as you had a mate. Ever. And there was a lot of them. I'll tell you how good it was, Barry. When the war was all over and finished, I had 2 or 3 guys. One we used to call the rustler, comes from way down Southland. Before he went in the army, he used to rustle sheep. Yeah, little wee blonde fella. And I said, you're not coming in my place. And he says, oh, he says, I want a bed for the night. I says, sorry. He says, why? Don't you trust me? I says, no. I says, you'll steal this bloody blind, you bastard. I says, I know you. He says, oh, Tommy. I says, well, sorry. I says, I'm sorry, I couldn't trust you. I said, I like you, but I can't trust you. Another guy came down from Morton, Len, France, and he says, take me out, Tommy. I says, sorry, Len. He says, you and I never really got on, did we? I says, no. He said, but I'd do anything for you. I says, yep. In those days, I'd do anything for you. But not now.
Why is that?
I says, how's Needles up there in Auckland? Oh, I haven't got time to go and see that silly bugger. I says, you just answer my question. If you can't waste time going and seeing how your old mates are, I says, he was your mate for 4 bloody years on that truck, and you haven't even got time to go and say hello to him. Hooray, Len. He says, you're turning me down. I says, sorry, yep. You don't come down here bludging, mate. He says, you never used to talk like this. I says, no. I says, I've woken up a little bit, haven't I? Big Bill Porter in Palmerston North. Big Bill Porter. I used to like that bugger. Started up a sweet factory in Palmerston North. When we had the shop in Island Bay, I bought some toffee, opened up the lid, and I thought, Christ, this is bloody good toffee. Proprietor, Chairs Porter. Bloody Porter makes the bloody stuff. So I thought, I'll fix this bastard.
It's rain.
Rain?
The door.
Oh. What do you want, sweetheart?
Arrête, j'en ai assez.
Robert critique l'enseignement. Il trouve qu'on enseigne beaucoup de choses inutiles. Il trouve que l'enseignement n'est pas adapté à la vie moderne. N'est pas adapté. Ça, oui, c'est adapté, c'est bien adapté, oui. Mais ça, non. Ça, ce n'est pas adapté. Ça ne va pas. Regardez ça. Ça, c'est adapté, c'est bien adapté, ça s'adapte. Mais ça, c'est mal adapté. Hein. Ce n'est pas bien adapté. Robert fait beaucoup de critiques. 1. On enseigne trop de choses inutiles. 2. L'enseignement est trop autoritaire. 3. L'enseignement est dirigiste. 4. Pas adapté.
Hi.
What you been doing?
Oh, just watering that bit of garden. Gets very dry there. And I put that bit of wire netting, didn't want to cut it, across the top of the saw beet. The birds have been eating it all.
All right. Ho ho ho! Hello, hello, it's all going.
And so all she needs is to have the connection. She's got a couple now of fully qualified nurses.
That's right. That she's got as a backup.
And I says, you know Prue, and you know this other girl that came out, this Marion?
No. Go away. Go away.
Maddie, get to bed. Go on.
Go to bed.
Into bed.
No, I remember you saying about you saw Mussolini at a
Oh,
just that trip you went.
oh well. We just missed the hanging when the partisans got him up in Lake Como. And I had a little job. An officer, a friend of mine, he says, will you drive the station wagon? He says, we're going to do a tour of northern Italy. He did, and I don't know anybody who knows northern Italy like you do, you crafty bugger. I says, okay Hardy Wilson from Christchurch, actually. Poor old Hardy used to stutter. So I took him, and I said, you know, we're going to get tangled up in something here. What's that? I said, the partisans have got Mussolini. Where? I says, up here in Como. I says, we're going right through the bloody place. Oh, no, I don't want to see that. I says, well, I'll tell you what we'll do. I said, we'll come back through Milan. So we went right up around the top of northern Italy, saw all the sights. These buggers chased all the birds. And in those northern cities and towns, the German soldiers were still marshalling them under the, whatever it is with these war people. Once we've taken it over, they sent in a New Zealand marshal in charge of all these little places. And here's the Germans wandering the streets, full uniform. They were guarding the little towns so that the locals didn't tear it all to pieces. So basically the Germans were looking after the little towns for the British. And this is exactly right. So after seeing all these places, we headed back, and I said, "Guys, I'm sick of this driving." I says, let's get back to our own outfit. That was way down in Florence. Righto, Noel, you know where you're going, right? And I had a bloody station wagon. In the boot of that station wagon was half a dozen transformers. And this bloody station wagon used to burn out transformers. And slowly but surely the old station wagon used to get slower and slower. So here we go. Out of the back, out with a spanner, whack out the old tranny, put another one in. And I had to stop at all the British mechanical outfits. Look, I got a burnt out transformer. Can you help me? Oh, okay, Kiwi. They'd give me another couple and I'd give them a couple of old ones. They'd do the old ones up. And I said, I've got to get all the way back to bloody Florence. I said, oh, Christ, you've got a long way to go. I said, yep. So anyway, on the way through, I went to sleep driving this station wagon. we got on the autostradas. These were the first autostradas built in Italy, and were they magnificent. They were all raised way up in the air, a good 20 feet in the air. You could see all around the whole countryside. There was only one problem. They would travel for 100 miles in a dead straight line. And it got so boring, and I'm driving as fast as this car would go. I'm driving and driving and driving, and in the finish, Hardy Wilson says, "Hey, wake up, Noel. What's the problem? You're snoring, you bugger." I've gone to sleep. Doing 100 miles an hour.
Shit.
So we made our way through, and I said, "Hello, what's this?" "Here's Milan. We'll stop and have something to eat, and then we'll carry on." And when we stopped, here was this bloody great crowd. I said, "Look at this one. These are bloody partisans." I said, "I bet you they've got bloody Mussolini in there somewhere." This truck comes through, pulls up in a Bowser station, and they threw something off the back of the truck. Unbeknownst to us, it was Mussolini and his girlfriend and some other guy. And they had been beaten and bashed to hell. You could see with their faces had all blood all over them, and I said, "Oh Christ, I don't want to see this, let's get out of here." "What are they going to do? What are they going to do?" And I said, "Oh, they've killed them, so what the hell?" They know what they did? A rope around their ankles and tied them up to the Bowser pumps and hung them up in the air and went, typical bloody Italian, taking photos of them. "We got Mussolini." And they stand there with their hand on the body. "I was one of them that got Mussolini. Aye, aye, aye. The Italians are bloody skites." And they had to show the world that they had got Mussolini. This is the partisan, see, the Communist Party. No, that was that. And I said, "Come on, let's get the hell out of here." So we got out of it, out of Milan. "Where are we going, Noel?" I said, "We're going to Florence." I said, "I've had a guts full." I said, "Oh, you're the driver. You know where you're going?" I said, "South." I said, "Yeah, but which way?" I said, "South." I said, "We'll finish up in Florence."
Must have been amazing at your age, you know, you're young and suddenly you're right there in the world and the most amazing art and culture, the history of the world's all sitting there. I mean, how did all that sort of feel?
Oh, I don't know.
Must have been really different.
I don't know. Well,
Kiwi lad.
this is one of the reasons I'm not colossally interested in travelling around the world now. The only reason I find why I go to Australia now, to go and see Joey, or to see somebody in particular. Thelma wants to go to Canada. I don't know anybody in Canada. I'm not the least bit interested. And I don't want to go where it's bloody cold. But
Hey, you still got your...
got it somewhere. Yeah, she's got it somewhere. Anyway.
Still remember how to play?
Eh?
Can you play?
Who, me? Oh, I used to play it, yeah. I can still play a tune on it.
You played it with me?
Wouldn't be much of a tune now. Yeah, I can still play it. Suck blow, suck blow. Yeah.
I remember I went one tune, which is da 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 no place.
Home Sweet Home.
Home Sweet Home, yeah.
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 One of the first ones I ever learned, because it's easy. You just go up the scale and down the scale. Oh no, that one's easy. Try to do.
Oh, that's good.
Sit down. Sit. That's a good girl.
I remember you once telling us how you learned to play mouth organ in the toilet. Years you just used to.
Yeah, I used to go out, sit on my bloody own. I bought it for the first. I'm confessing to being a thief when I was a little fella. I was only about 6 or 7. Went into Woolworths one day, and here was a mouth organ. Always wanted a mouth organ, so I pinched it in Woolworths. And that's what I learnt to play on. Anyway, after about 6 months of sucking and blowing, I buggered it up, because to keep it clean I used to pour boiling water through it, and they used to have little rubber vamping cords inside them. And of course the boiling water washed all the glue off. So, lesson 1, don't put boiling water through a mouth organ. Save me pennies. Go and sell some bloody beer bottles, lemonade bottles, whatever you could find. I've got 1 and 6, I'll get a good mouth organ. How was I to know that the price of mouth organ had gone from 6pence to 1 and 6? So I bought another one the same. And boy, I looked after that one. That one lasted me for 2 or 3 years, that old mouth organ. And then I eventually got on to, oh Christ, I'd love to own one of these chromatics. I eventually bought one, and I learnt the trebling, you know, with a push button on the side. I learned where you get the hard notes. So my next little effort was the bolero. Da, 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 That's how I learned to play the bloody mouth organ. I used to serenade the boys over in Italy. You ever heard a mouth organ at night time on its own? It's like hearing a trumpet. You get a guy playing a trumpet or a bugle in the middle of the night, all on his own. And the beautiful echo of it, with no other sound. Oh, just imagine a mouth organ. I used to when we lived up in Rolleston Street in Wellington, I used to sit up with the chooks and play the mouth organ to the chooks. And they I can't. And the dogs.
The dogs get off on it, don't they?
We had a dog, well, the high-pitched sound
Yeah.
plays up the dog's ears. And the old dog goes, "Arr, arr." Yeah. Anyway, getting back to this bloody business, Um, we left Milan the next afternoon. We were back in Florence, Lake Trasimeno. And I said, "How, Harley, you've had it." He said, "Oh, Christ," he says, "that was a bloody good trip, Noel." I says, "Yeah, all right for you. You didn't have to do the driving." Now we're in Trasimeno, of course, like I say, the war had actually finished. Oh, before I tell you that, I missed a little bit. You asked what we did with all the grog that we got from that supply dump. When actual end of the war was declared, I think they call it V-Day, we were parked in our trucks alongside a little stream. And old Needles says, "Where's that Cummel, Tommy?" I says, "You're not going to drink that bloody stuff, because Cummel's a liqueur. Thick, oily and sweet." So he says, "I'll show you what to do with it." And he went, he sat down in the middle of this little stream. He says, "First," he says, "you've got to make space on the top of the bottle." So he took a bloody good swig, then put the bottle under the water and let it fill up with water. Half water, half Cummel. Good drink. So, out come the cases of bloody Cummel. And we celebrated the end of the war 3 times, because the news came through. It's not officially declared. Right, the next bloody day, it is now officially declared the end of the war. Righto, on the piss again. So we went on, that's what we did with that grog. We cleaned up a truckload of grog in 3 days. Mind you, there was about 20 of us. We used to have a thing, we carted it all over Italy, the black tent. Whenever we went on the booze, out came the black tent. Right from one end of Italy to the other we carted that bloody thing. But as always said, when you got pissed, we used to, for seats, camouflage netting, put it in rolls, around the outside of the old black tent. All your grog was over the back of it. You'd grog away, and if you got tired, you rolled over the back of the bloody roll of bloody camouflage netting and had to snore off. Silly as a chook. Okay, now from Trasimeno, Florence. That's where I had to tangle up with the bloody Maori battalion. Met them in Florence. 5 Maori fellas and myself. We serenaded all the bloody Italians in Florence. Silly as chook. Rotten. God, we used to get rotten. One of the Maori boys says, "Come on, Tommy, we'll give you a bed." So they took me back to the Maori battalion. Go to bed. Wake up in the morning. No wallet. No passbook. Somebody had ratted me. One of the Maori fellas had ratted me of every bloody thing I had on me. Now, you know the name of Bennett, who was officer commanding the New Zealand Maori Battalion. I think he later became High Commissioner for, or somewhere up there in Malaysia. Well, Bennett came round and he says, "Pakeha, I hear you had trouble." I says, "Yes, I had trouble." I said, "One of these rotten bastards ratted me." He said, "Who were you with?" So I told him. Right. Don't go away. He buggered off for about 5 minutes. Came back. His knuckles were bleeding. And he's here. Here's your money. Here's your passbook. Here, this is all yours. Now get out. He says, and don't come back. He says, we don't like parky hours here. I said, well, up you too. I said, thanks very much. I said, so much for your bloody Maori battalion. I said, nothing else but a bunch of bloody thieves. He says, and you were the sucker. He says, you go around flashing your money. I said, I didn't flash my money. Somebody knew you had money. I did. I had a lot of money because I used to do a lot of gambling. I had a lot of bloody money. Okay. Got back to our own outfit and word came out. Righto, you guys are going to get leave in England. What? Yep. We take off here next week, get on the trucks, go right to the top of, right up through Monte Carlo. We're going to the Italian Riviera and we'll carry on from there. Now, have you all got the money? Oh shit, Noel was broke. At one stage, I used to be in charge of the water cart. I shouldn't be telling you this really, but I was in charge of the water cart. So as far as I was concerned, in Supply Depot, that water cart was mine. So I went round to the guy who originally relieved me and I said, how's the water cart? He says, good. I said, how's the petrol can up top? He says, full. I said, thank you. I said, I'll take it out. And you know who I went and saw? Old Kev Caldwell. On the way down to see him, I thought, shit, I'll have to buy some grog somewhere along the line if we're going to see Caldwell. Just pulled into what looked like a garage. Boy, Potato, Petroleum, CC. Quando. And they pointed to the wheels of the truck. They want to know whether I had tyres. Oh shit. Yep. Got a couple of spare tyres. So I flogged off about 40 or 50 gallons of bloody petrol. Pinched the bloody spare tyre off the bloody water cart. Flogged that. So I had some money. Right. Went down and saw Caldwell. And Caldwell had a case of Canadian beer under his bed. I said, shit, I said, I didn't get any grog. He says, we got plenty here. So Ken Caldwell and I, we got pissed. We cleaned up all his bloody beer. And I said, shit, I've got to get back to my camp, got to get this water cart back. So I said, I'm taking off now. The trams in Florence drive along raised tracks in the centre of a road. They don't travel along the sides. Right down the centre of the road on a raised track. And out in front of their trams was an arm with a bloody great knob on the end of it, their bumper. There was the only bumpers they had on these trams. Because old Noel, half rotten, I said, oh gee, that bugger's going too slow for me, I'll pass him. I'm on a lean, swung across to get to the other side of him, in front. Wham! He hit me. And you wouldn't believe it. This bloody ram on the front of that tram went right under my bum. Through the petrol tank, right under my bum. Jesus Christ, now what do I do? Along the road comes a bloody English red cap, military police. I thought, oh no. Hello Kiwi, you in trouble? I says, yeah. I said, how the hell do I get this bloody truck off this bumper? Not a problem. 4 or 5 guys come from nowhere, lifted the front of the truck, see if it still goes. Started her up, started. There was still enough petrol in the carburetor. Right? He says, now bugger off. I haven't seen you. So I took off, got back to camp. All the side door was smashed and the bloody petrol